Daniel Jones and Mooney Ward are officially back to play this weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com. I'm joined, as always, by Jake Arthur, the boots on the ground over at Roundtable Sports. And welcome to Locked On Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off of your first purchase. Now, guys, we have a fun Friday show planned for you. Like always, we're going to talk about the latest injury updates before Colts Chiefs, talk about the Colts offense, the Colts defense, and our final score predictions and random other predictions heading into this massive matchup against the Chiefs. But Jake, let's first dive into this injury report that is filled with names on both sides here. Starting off with the big one here. There was a little bit of a scare from the Colts yesterday where Daniel Jones popped up on the injury report as a limited participant. Now, you guys on the beat and also the Colts as well seem to do a lot of damage control with that, saying like it doesn't seem to be very serious. It doesn't seem like it's going to be much of an issue. And I think we got some clarification today from Shane that it was a very, very small amount of time that Jones missed. You just have to be very careful with that now in the NFL and say when a guy misses even a little bit of practice and put him as limited. He was a full participant today, and Daniel Jones is going to start this weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, he's been cleared to go. Now, of course, the saga always has to twist some way because it was calf on Wednesday because they kind of, they have to assign a designation to it. But when they looked at it further, turns out it's fibula. And there's really no reason. I know that sounds scary because it's the name of a bone, but like it's apparently really not anything to worry about. Doesn't even carry a questionable designation. Was technically limited on Thursday because anytime you miss some reps for whatever reason, when it's to have an injury, have any attention paid to it, you just have to downgrade them that way. And then he was full today, didn't miss a single thing. I literally think the extent of it on Thursday was just when he described what happened to the trainer. Like, because I saw it happening. I don't even think the trainer examined him. I don't think it even had gotten that far before Jones ran back over with the quarterback. So I think it probably is a bit overblown. But we all understand when a Colts quarterback goes on the injury report, you have to take it seriously because Andrew Luck, Anthony Richardson, Peyton Manning, like we've all seen it before. Like there's always, you got to hold your breath for that. But no, it looks like they dodged a bullet on this one. No biggie. The much more impactful thing though is Mooney Ward. Now, Shane Steichen said he cleared concussion protocol today. We spoke to him as well after practice, and he still carries the questionable designation, but I think that's only because they haven't activated him off of IR yet. They have to make that roster move. So as far as I know, all indications I got was that he's supposed to play. Again, we spoke to him, we spoke to Shane, and it sounds like he'll be playing on Sunday. So that's huge. What we've been waiting for these 2-3 weeks, pairing Sauce and Mooney Ward together right off the bat with a matchup like Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. It seems exciting that he's going to be back this weekend. Again, not officially back yet. He's still technically questionable and not activated on the roster, but we expect that to be lifted tomorrow when he gets activated and the Colts make a couple roster moves on Saturday like we tend to see from this team. A couple other injury notes from the Colts. A couple players returning to the lineup. Samson Ebukam was a full participant these last couple of days, and he is officially back this week. Anthony Gould, the kick returner, punt returner, he will be back for this game. Tyquan Lewis is a questionable this week, which is funny that his status got a lot better after we were all doom and gloom about him on Wednesday, Jake. He did get back out there at practice, and he is officially questionable. The only Colts player ruled out, or I guess not even technically ruled out because he's not technically on the roster right now, is Jalen Carlisle. He has just not activated yet by the Colts. Going over to the Chiefs side of things, the only player they ruled out was Isaiah Pacheco, the running back. He's just not ready to return yet. And then two questionable, very noteworthy questionable players. Xavier Worthy and Kingsley Suamatea, Suamatea at left guard. Kingsley, I'm just going to say Kingsley here, was dealing with a concussion all week. He hasn't cleared protocol yet, but he has progressed very, very well for them. So we'll see if he is able to go. Xavier Worthy, he did ramp up as the week went, but the Chiefs have still kind of been non-committal about him playing this week. So some noteworthy injuries to watch for the Chiefs there. Pacheco being out is obviously a big one, but both these teams are rolling into this game, Jake, pretty healthy.
No, yeah, it's really good news for them. When you look at, I mean, God, that all those injuries for Kansas City are all on the offensive side of the ball. So, I mean, I guess you're always worried about Kansas City's offense, obviously, but to me, I just want to see how this Colts offense responds to Kansas City's defense, which hasn't had a banner year that you would expect with some of the guys that are out there and Steve Spagnuolo calling the shots. But yeah, the Colts got to play clean. What's the pressure going to look like? Because obviously that's been the big talking point when it comes to the offense those last 2 games. Daniel Jones not taking care of the ball. And then Jonathan Taylor, do you think you're going to get him able to get rolling? Because the Chiefs know that's what the Colts are eventually going to try and do. But the good news for the Colts is it's not like they're feeding Jonathan Taylor 30 carries a game and trying to get him rolling from the jump. Like once they've got their hooks into the defense, that's when they really unleash Taylor, which I think makes it just so hard to defend. So what's your vibe on this one? Colts offense, as long as they take care of it, versus the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, the Chiefs defense, I think, is better in the advanced stats than what they kind of appear to be on Sundays. And I think a big part of that is when they've played against like below average type teams, they've taken advantage. Whereas when they played against the top offenses outside of Detroit, they did a really good job against Detroit. But most of the better offenses they've played, they have had their struggles. Their edge rush room is a big time concern. Really, the only production they get on defense is from Chris Jones on that defensive line. And then when you look at the secondary, it's a good competitive secondary. It just has a couple of issues there. Like Chamari Connor has had some issues in coverage as well, but Trent McDuffie's a fantastic outside corner. It's funny when you think about it. This defense that we're looking at with the Chiefs is very, very similar to the Colts defense in a lot of ways, where the one impact pass rusher was an interior defensive lineman. Now the Colts don't have their guy for this matchup, but Chris Jones, a pretty good secondary, but very vulnerable at the linebacker room, especially when you're passing against the linebacker room. And that's the one thing I'm really looking at for this Colts offense versus the Chiefs defense is the Chiefs defenses have given up a lot against play action this year, especially early down play action, because teams are just going after those linebackers in coverage relentlessly. And that has been a big part of what the Colts have done from day one this year. I did a video on my personal YouTube channel talking about the Colts out of 12 personnel, getting these quick hitters to Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman Jr. out of these heavier personnel sets to create yards after catch and put linebackers in absolute hell at the point of attack. And that is where the Chiefs have really struggled. So I think when you're looking at that one area right there, where that's the Colts' bread and butter in the passing game, this is where the Chiefs have struggled the most. It seems pretty clear what the plan of attack is to start this game. Come out in your heavy personnel groupings, run your bootleg actions, run your quick play actions, make sure these linebackers are just not seeing the field correctly, much like how the Colts played against the Chargers a couple weeks ago, and just make them pay in the flats by feeding Warren and feeding Michael Pittman Jr. And getting those guys running after the catch. So I like this matchup for the Colts. The Chiefs do have a pretty decent run defense just in terms of coming up and making tackles, and that's kind of where they're at their best. But that hasn't really stopped Jonathan Taylor yet this year. I'm not really too concerned about Taylor getting his yards, but I think they're really vulnerable if you come out with a heavy play action attack early, especially on the early downs, get it in space, then get the Chiefs out of their base personnel package, get them into dime and nickel, and then you can run all over them with Jonathan Taylor.
That sounds like a lot of those, play action boots to Tyler Warren on the outside with getting him an extra 20 or so yards to run with that. Yeah, I think if those linebackers are just not in position or they're late to respond there on the outside, like that's the Colts have the horses that can run with that. No pun intended. Could also be a Josh Downs one. We haven't really seen Downs has had some good moments and he's been productive when called on, but he hasn't had like that big performance yet. I think a lot of his work, you've seen him get some catches outside the numbers and stuff. So maybe that pays more dividends, on Sunday. We'll see. Still kind of waiting on that big one from him.
Yeah, no, the Chiefs are a bit vulnerable in the passing department in terms of like their slot corner play. They've put Shamari Connor down there a couple times this year. They've rotated some different players. They have moved Trent McDuffie to the slot at times recently, but I don't think they'll do that this weekend with Pittman Jr. and Pierce on the outside. Like those are very pressing threats. The big thing for the Colts offense is getting away from 3rd and 5 plus, 3rd and 6 plus. Make sure that you're in run or pass situations on 3rd down. So McDuffie has to move outside still, and then maybe you can get those isolations for Josh Downs against backup slot corners, or again have that threat of the run, use the play action, and get the ball out to Warren. I think there is a very clear plan of attack here, though, against this Chiefs defense. Go very, very heavy play action. Colts are 2nd in play action usage this year. Come out heavy with that and make these linebackers pay for having bad discipline and bad eyes.
Yeah, I think if you look at it this way, if the Colts offense is actually effective and takes care of the ball, and like they're always productive with the yardage, but it's just how the drives end up, whether it's points or giving the ball away. If they're not giving the ball away, like it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to really hang in there, I think. And that's not. I'm always so cautious about discounting the Chiefs, but we're going to explain why further here in a moment, because we're finally going to see that shiny new defense featuring its nice little cornerback tandem. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere that PrizePicks operates, and that includes California, Texas, and Georgia. We've all been using PrizePicks around here at the network for football Sundays and NBA tip-offs. Just keeps everything more exciting, especially when your team's not playing. It gives you a reason to watch even further. The new stacks feature is pretty cool too. You can now combine, your stat projections on a single player, and you could throw them just all into one. Like one NBA player, their points, their threes, their assists, all that. You could throw them into one. Plus, if one of your players leaves with an injury, then the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On NFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, welcome back, everydayers. We are giving our final preview of Colts Chiefs, and we want to thank you for making us your first listen of the day, and also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network around Galaxy, Universe, Milky Way. We're starting to get into 2 similar things that I'm saying, but I'm not an
Galaxy,
astronomer.
Universe, Milky Way. That's not the SETI progression.
It's why I'm here. Yeah,
that's fine.
In the city, So let's go ahead and talk about this Colts defense now. So everything else is kind of an afterthought after you consider the fact that you should be getting Mooney Ward back this week, pairing him with Sauce Gardner. You got Cam Bynum and Nick Cross patrolling back there behind them. I mean, man, it opens up. We've talked about it a lot, but it opens up a lot of opportunity for what you could do with the linebackers. You hope your defensive line now with these guys, buying you a little more time in coverage, can get to Patrick Mahomes a little more often, keep him on the move. I mean, he's always on the move. Playing in structure is just not his game, like backyard football and just moving around and buying time and just doing his thing. That's how he makes plays. But if you can actually get to him and bring him down while he's doing all that, that's a major plus.
Yeah, it's funny when I'm looking at this Colts defense versus the Chiefs offense, there's not really a single thing that makes me think the Chiefs should be productive on offense in this game, which terrifies me because how could you ever think that about Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs? This Chiefs offense, they still have some magic about them because Mahomes is who he is. But you kind of look at how this Colts defense is made, and it's kind of built to stop the type of offense that the Chiefs like to run right now. The Chiefs have still been very effective this year. They're still top 10 in a lot of major analytics, top 5 in some others. They get points on the board. They are effective at moving the football. They get to 3rd and short. They do a lot of good things correct, but a lot of the ways they attack modern defenses is a bit outdated. They still lean heavily into the RPO game. They still just do a lot of these passing concepts that are more effective against single high than they are against two high type systems. And the NFL is moving so much towards these two high systems. And this is where we're seeing like the lack of explosives with this Chiefs offense. This is where we're seeing them get bogged down in a lot of situations. And they've really struggled against man coverage with the lack of talent at wide receiver. Rashee Rice coming back was a big boost for them, but he's not like this pure like separator route runner type guy. He's more of a catch and run, create after the catch type of player. So when I look at this Colts defense, though, like they have the dogs to run man coverage all game long and just make life hell for those wide receivers getting off the line and delaying their releases. Where the Colts are kind of vulnerable right now is the run game, and the Chiefs don't really have an effective run game. I mean, Kareem Hunt's been good at getting like 3 or 4 yards on a carry, but he's not an explosive threat. You're not going to get explosive runs against in the carries that he gets, and you can give up that in this type of system. This system is fine giving up gains on the ground that just aren't explosive. That's what they live by. And then looking at the RPO game, I mean, Lou Anarumo was one of the first defensive coordinators. I don't want to say one of the first, but really at the forefront of shutting down RPOs years ago in terms of using his inverted Tampa 2 stuff and using his drop 8 coverage stuff to get in those throwing windows and just daring teams to run it out of the RPOs. He was really big, and that's what part of why they beat Mahomes that one year to go to the Super Bowl when he was with the Bengals. So much of this defense is like built to stop what the Chiefs want to do. Now, you can't completely shut down the Chiefs because Travis Kelce has been an ageless wonder this year, doing a lot of great things at his age has been crazy. Mahomes still has that scramble threat and that playmaking ability, and they can still get some deep balls down the field with Tyquan Thornton. And if Xavier Worthy plays this week, it's a possibility. But, I think this can be a big statement game for the Colts defense. Come out here and do the things that they do well, especially with their revamped secondary with Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward out there. And I think this can be one of their most impressive defensive showings of the year. Because they have all the ingredients to have a strong day against the Chiefs. It's about just making sure that they don't commit dumb penalties. They take advantage when the turnovers are there in front of them, and they get off the field on third down. But I think all the ingredients are there for a really, really strong game from the Colts defense. It's just, can they stay disciplined? Can they stay on top of it? And can they avoid the Pat Mahomes special plays when those happen?
Yes, discipline and being patient, I think, is going to be the name of the game in this one. I was talking to Cam Bynum on Wednesday, and you ask him, it's just like you're facing a team where the pairing of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, so much of what's made them a special pairing throughout the years is what they do outside of structure and when the play breaks down and when you have to throw the plan out the window on a play, So it's like, how do you defend that? Because you successfully take away what the goal of the play was to do, but now they're scrambling around and finding each other and converting on these broken plays. And he said it's just about sticking with the assignment the whole time. And, you get these defensive backs that are really talented with their instincts, and they break off what the assignment was to go make a play somewhere else, or like what they see transpiring in front of them. You kind of can't do that in this one unless you literally see the ball about to fly out of Mahomes' hand. You just have to stay patient and disciplined in this one, because that is how Kelce gets that, the extra couple feet of wiggle room to get open, and he can still run a little bit with the ball after. I mean, he's not going to beat guys down the sideline very much anymore, but a 16-yard chunk play is very valuable. And we've seen that, like the Colts defense on third and way too long, especially early in the season, they were vulnerable against that stuff. So I think just being patient, discipline, like you said, like just the corny coach speak, do your job and don't try and be Superman in this one. Because I think whatever Lou has cooked up, I think is probably going to be relatively successful in this one. And then just another thing that makes me feel pretty positive about this matchup is just like, what are the Chiefs going to offer in the run game? Like, I just don't know how much they can, because if they wanted to come into this one and throw everyone for a loop and say, we're going to punch the Colts in the mouth, on the ground with Pacheco and everything, well, they can't. He's out. And Kareem Hunt can't do that anymore. Like, he can do some things, but like you mentioned, he's going to get you 3, maybe 4 yards. Like, unless he's just running supremely violently and breaking a bunch of tackles and the Colts aren't getting off the blocks and everything, I just don't see how they're going to be able to rely on the run game at all. And then the Colts clearly are built to defend the pass at the moment. So I just think they match up really well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The one thing I will say, and I think this will be the most telling thing early in the game on what kind of Chiefs offensive day we're going to be in store for, is do we see Mahomes scrambling early and often in this game? If he's getting out of the pocket, breaking contain, making guys miss, and running for first downs early in this game, it might be a higher scoring game that the Colts are going to need to win. But if he's content to stay in the pocket and trying to deliver against the rush and not making those special out of structure plays, then I think this Colts defense has a real good chance of holding them under 20, maybe even lower than that. But that'll be the big factor, is can you contain Mahomes to the pocket and make sure he's not scrambling? Because if the Colts want to play man coverage, they have the dogs to do it. They have the ability to play man coverage and lock down these receivers. But the big thing with man coverage is you don't have many eyes on the quarterback. So if you're not getting Mahomes down to the ground on your first hit, or you're not containing him to the pocket, he has the potential for big time rushing performances like we saw early in the season against defenses. Their offense has kind of regressed in recent weeks when he's not really taken that scramble option that's been there for him like it was early in the year. So they got to keep him in the pocket. They cannot let him scramble because his legs, honestly, like I know he's not Lamar Jackson, but his legs are the scariest aspect about him right now because you know the plays are coming through the air with him. But the legs are the X factor. If he uses those and is able to run for some first downs early, it could be a long day, even if the Colts have all the ingredients for success in this one.
Yeah, he just has a way of making the improbable happen when he's running, especially like if he's going along the sideline, like things just work out for him when he's using his legs, and it's just kind of what makes him him. It can't really be explained. But coming up, guys, we're going to let you know how we see this one turning out. The 8-2 Colts, they're falling behind in the AFC standings. You know, the Broncos and Patriots are continuing to win, and then the Chiefs at 5-5, they're kind of trying to avoid the grave this season. All right, the NFL season is heating up as the postseason nears, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between the queues, the login screens, and then the prices just jumping up out of nowhere at checkout, it's just frustrating. But that's why we use Gametime here. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and it's backed up by the Gametime guarantee. And that means that you'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price that you see is the price that you're going to pay. I recently pulled up Gametime. In just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals on some of your favorite NFL games, ones that are going to carry a lot of weight down the stretch for as low as $100. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, welcome back, everydayers. It is Zach Hicks and Jake Arthur with you. We are talking Colts and Chiefs, and it's been a big news cycle for 72 hours for the Colts. Mooney Ward has been a full participant all week in practice and has cleared the concussion protocol. We expect that he'll be activated off IR and play on Sunday. Daniel Jones pops up on the injury report with a calf. It's clarified as a fibula today on Friday, but he's actually all good to go. So kind of a roller coaster of emotions. But that leads us all back to kind of feeling the same way about this matchup that we did Wednesday morning, I guess, Zach. So I guess I'm speaking for myself, but has anything changed for you? How do you think this one's going to go?
Oh, man, this game is such a head versus heart type of game in terms of like, the head part of me is looking at the analytics and looking at where these two teams stand, look at what the Colts are good at, what the Chiefs struggle with. And there's really no way on paper that this Chiefs team should win. Like on paper, the Chiefs are a pretty good team on paper too. Like they have very good analytics and they move the ball well on offense. They get teams off the board on defense, but their couple problem areas are all the areas that the Colts excel in. from play action on offense to taking advantage of linebackers. On defense, the Colts are going to play a lot of man coverage with the corners they're rolling out there, and that is where the Chiefs' struggles have really popped in this year. So, everything in my head says the Colts should win this game, but the reason why we play the games on Sunday are because of things like this. You could have every single number saying that one team's going to win, and then the improbable can happen, like they did in the Steelers game, where the Steelers had no right winning that game against the Colts in terms of the numbers, but the Steelers kind of dominated that entire game. And the one thing that I keep coming back to is it's the Kansas City Chiefs at home following 2 losses. They're 4-1 at home this year. They are the least penalized team in football at home this year as well, which is a big factor in games like this. They play good, hard football. They took care of the Lions at home earlier this year as well, and they're fighting for their playoff lives, So I think this is going to be a very, very tough game for the Colts. I'm still going to lean with the Colts here because at the end of the day, I'm a nerd, and the nerds, we got to lean with our heads, more so than just the vibes. I will say my head is saying Colts. My vibes are saying Chiefs. I'll go Colts, and I'll take your prediction here, Jake, because I said it earlier this week. I said it technically before you on a different show this week, but 27-24 Colts is what I've had all week. But I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I think it's going to be a playoff atmosphere, a playoff caliber game. But again, I think in my head, I say everything says Colts. So I'm hoping my head prevails over just the vibes and the superstition going into this. And I think this Colts team is ready for the moment, hopefully I think that they're ready for the moment.
Yeah, this one, it feels suspicious, man. It feels to me almost like the Pittsburgh game, where I had really no reason to feel like Pittsburgh should have been able to win. Their defense just magically flipped a switch and turned crazy and really overwhelmed the Colts. I don't really know that Kansas City has anything to do in that department versus the Colts that the Colts shouldn't be prepared for. What I kind of am going to hang my hat on is the fact that the Colts did just have their bye week to settle down in those issues that have been plaguing the offense over those last couple games, that they've got things figured out a little bit. And that doesn't mean you can't make mistakes, but don't the rate at which they were turning the ball over, the rate at which they were getting sacked, it's crazy. It was just night and day from what we'd been seeing earlier in the year. So if they can get that stuff under control and at least keep it to a minimum, then they do match up really, really well with Kansas City. But like you said, there's so much that the stuff you can't really describe. Like Kansas City is, their backs are against the wall. It's kind of go for broke. Their season is all but done if they lose here. You go to 5-6 in an AFC that's been pretty competitive, especially the AFC West, and you got to try and pray for a wild card spot after that. It's tough. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, it's Steve Spagnuolo. They still have Chris Jones. George Karlaftis is capable of really good things. I've been a Drew Tranquil stan for his entire career going back to Notre Dame.
Don't watch Chiefs defense film then if you're a Drew Tranquil stan, Jake.
Well, see, that's the thing, because we thought other linebacker crews were butt, and then they go out and play the Colts and make plays. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm afraid of, is the things that we think are vulnerable for the Chiefs become a strength on Sunday. Regardless, I'm going to come back to everything with the Colts winning. Like I've said to you earlier in the week, I think 27-24 sounds about right. I do think they're capable of winning by a couple scores, to be quite honest with you. But just the fact that this is the NFL and sometimes things happen that don't make sense, I think it'll be pretty close. We obviously know the Chiefs are capable of winning this game. I just don't. The most obvious thing, and us following all the evidence, does not say at all that the Chiefs should win. So I do still have the Colts winning a narrow one, 27-24.
Yeah, Colts just got to lean into play action early, go heavy play action early. It doesn't have to be downfield shots either, because Jones, again, has turned the ball over a little bit recently, trying to force downfield shots. Have the intermediate and short game working off play action, get those run after catch opportunities. And then once they get out of base, it's all Jonathan Taylor, baby, after that, And then on defense, just run your man stuff, run your drop 8 stuff, dare them to run the football. They're not going to. So just dare them all day long to run the ball. Be out there and nickel and dime on first down even. Like, dare the Chiefs to run the football because they don't want to right now. They're like, they finished last game with what, like 50 passes to like 14 runs. Like, they don't want to run the ball. So dare them to put 3 defensive linemen out there, go nickel and dime and just dare them to. So yeah, I think that this Colts team is set up for success. It's just, can they avoid the penalties? Can they avoid the turnovers? Can they avoid the self-inflicted wounds? Because if they play a clean football game, they should win this one. But before we get out of here, Jake, we like to do this on every show, and we're running a little late today, but any random predictions for this one? I think we're both like here with like Tyler Warren's first 100-yard game, I think is set up really well for this weekend, just with where the Chiefs are vulnerable. But do we have like some outside the box ones here for this one? Any big man touchdowns or something like you've done in the past?
Nah, because like I predicted the Tyler Warren one before, and he had 99 yards when I said 100 yards. It's going to be something defensively. I've called out Latu getting a pick before. Man,
going on a limb saying Latu getting a pick. He's like second on the team in interceptions, Jake. That's not even crazy. Like hot take.
No, either of Nick Cross or Cam Bynum will have 2 picks.
Okay. Dude, I would take 1 pick in this game.
Yeah.
Like any kind of turnover in this one. You know, even though my prediction was 27-24, I just want to put this out there so I can clip it if it happens. But I think this Colts defense can hold the Chiefs under 20 in this game. I know I mentioned that a little bit early, but they just have so many good ingredients there to shut down the Chiefs. And this can be such a coming out game for this defense, being like, hey, the rest of the way, we can be this top 10 defense because of this secondary we're throwing out there, because of the havoc we can create with our blitzes stacked on top of man coverage on the back end. So again, I don't know if it happens because Chiefs at home, they're not going to be penalized much. They're going to get their little chunk yards. Like it's what's going to happen. But I think they have a real opportunity to hold them under 20. Just want to see them stand tall in the red zone and get them off the field on third down. And I think it's a very real possibility they can hold this Chiefs offense under 20 points, maybe even lower than that. Like, they just have everything that the Colts defense is built to do is what the Chiefs like are good at and struggle at. Like, it's basically a defense built to stop the Chiefs offense. And I just want them to do it this weekend and play disciplined football. I think it's very, very possible.
Bold prediction is they just do absolutely crush them, and it's like 34-13 or something. Like, we're very cautious about saying that it can happen because it shouldn't, because it's the Chiefs. But again, if we're following the evidence, I mean, the Colts have some advantages. But
yeah, my one random prediction though, because this has happened 3 times this year, Ashton Dulin has got a reverse run and he's been tackled at the 1-yard line 3 times this year. We're gonna finally call it here for this week that he falls forward instead of sideways this time and gets into the end zone. Because he's had 3 of those runs at the 1-yard line this year. He's trying to help Jonathan Taylor's MVP candidacy, but we need Doolin to get in the end zone on one of these reverse runs this weekend. He's killing someone's fantasy team out there. Probably that one person, Irene or whatever, back in the day, who used to always comment on all of our stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have for today, guys. Let us know your score predictions in the comments below and your overall feelings heading into this big game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Colts have an opportunity to maintain momentum in the AFC South as the 2 teams behind them appear to be closing in. So the Colts, a huge opportunity this Sunday to establish themselves still as this top team in the AFC. Thank you guys for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every day. The NFL season's in full swing, so for your next listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler, the Madman Rowland, gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. You guys want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get that insider scoop, follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, make sure you're following at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at Zach Hicks 2, all on socials. We're also on TikTok and Instagram, so follow us over there. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. We love your guys' ratings, reviews, and we'll catch you guys back here after the Colts hopefully win on Sunday afternoon.